This video, we're going to talk about how to start an Amazon online arbitrage business on a budget. If you're brand new to my channel, welcome. My name's Miles. I'm a 23-year-old full-time Amazon seller, about 1.6 million in sales the last 12 months, all online arbitrage on Amazon, which means basically I buy stuff from big retail websites, think Walmart.com, Nike.com, Target.com, sites like that, get them in and send them off to Amazon's warehouse and sell those items for a profit, just taking advantage of market inefficiencies that exist between Amazon's marketplace and these big retail websites, because naturally just the way online shopping is growing, different stuff like that comes up where we can get and make money actually from these market inefficiencies and everything like that. So we're going to jump into my screen and talk about how to find products, what tools you should need, realistic expectations, and how much capital you should have. So let's get right into that. We're here inside my screen now. We're going to take a look at some of that stuff. So to get started, in terms of capital requirements, I'm on this like cool cool typing tool. Capital requirements, I would say definitely around $500 to $1,000 is ideal for online arbitrage. I'd prefer on the higher end just because you're going to need to spend money to make money in this business. So $1,000 is pretty sufficient in my opinion. If you have more than that, I think it's better to get started and build proof of concept, get some sales first, then sprinkle in that extra capital. Just initially, you're naturally going to make mistakes, as you will with any business, and it's better to make more inexpensive mistakes than it is super expensive ones. So if you're someone that has like $5,000, awesome, you're like totally ready to do this the right way. Take like $1,000, $1,500 and get started with that. Definitely get the tools I'm going to mention later in this video and use the live sourcing method I'm going to show in this video as well to build that proof of concept, and then sprinkle in that extra capital once you have some proof of concept, some sales, and all that. On the lower end, $500 definitely works. You're gonna need to spend 40 a month on the Amazon account, some of the tools I'll mention later in the video, but that's still enough to actually get started. Obviously, you're naturally gonna be handicapped just because it's harder when the less money you have and everything like that, because this is a capital and it's a cash flow business. You need to be able to spend money to buy products to make money, but at the same time, right, we all started somewhere. I started with $160 back before I even knew about Amazon, years before I even knew about Amazon. Bought a pair of shoes, flipped it for $220 through a Facebook group, and kept it growing from there. And now I've made hundreds of thousands in profit and millions of dollars in sales, actually doing Amazon the majority of that. So you can definitely start small, and I'm actually a fan of, like I mentioned, starting small. $500 to $1,000 is ideal. If you have less than that, it's naturally going to be harder. You're probably going to have to do a lot more book arbitrage and everything like that, which is awesome as well. I have a video that's like how I made my first 10K on Amazon, which is actually completely different than what I do now. I was just flipping textbooks in college and stuff like that. So definitely go check out that on my channel if you're interested in everything like that. In terms of expectations, so this is very important as well when you're getting started. So in terms of like profit margin expectations, you're going to be right around a 20% net profit margin. And in terms of translating your capital to revenue, your percentage of inventory cost to revenue is going to be right around 50%. So say you start with $1,000 and that's going to buy you right around $2,000 of revenue, assuming you're buying the right stuff that actually sells profitably, right? Naturally, you're going to make mistakes, as with anything, but that's going to definitely contribute, but that gives you a sense of it, right? So last month I did right around $250,000 of revenue, and my cost of goods sold was like right around $120,000, $125,000. I haven't looked at the exact numbers, but that's how I know that predictably I can reach my goals by reverse engineering my cost of goods sold to my revenue percentage, right? So say I want to do $300K in sales, or like this year, if for December I want to be right around $500K, that's going to take right around $250, $240, $230K of spend, depending on the ROI and everything like that. 20% net profit margin is going to give you, depending on the category and the fees, right around a 30 to like 30, right in low 30s ROI. I'm not sure the specifics of that. So that'll give you an indication of how well your capital is working and everything like that. In terms of workflows and methods, so if you're brand new and with $500 to $1,000 in capital, I'd say online arbitrage is great, and specifically manual reverse sourcing, which is what I'm going to show you in here in the screen share in a few minutes, which is actually just going through it. In terms of prep, it sounds great to use a prep center immediately, but if you only have this amount of money, like you're on a budget, definitely don't do it yourself. Get it shipped to your house or wherever, and then package it up, do it yourself, and get it sent off to Amazon, because with the lack of capital you have to be able to put in that sweat equity to get started, and that's going to involve prepping your own products. If you're really on a budget and don't have a printer, you can get a label printer and take it to the library. That's actually what I did when I didn't have a printer getting started on Amazon back in the day, nearly 3 years ago. And stuff like that. You can even just merchant fulfill. That's another thing on the important side. So there's two different ways to sell on Amazon. So there's FBA versus FBM, and I'll show you guys how to find whether a product is good to FBM or not. I think I'm gonna make a whole video. So Amazon, all they care about is the customer experience, so they incentivize people to do FBA, and FBA also makes them extra fees. So overall, it brings a better customer experience. Amazon makes more in fees, so that's why you should FBA pretty much everything else. In terms of tools to get started with, so there's a lot of misconceptions about what you actually need. In terms of what I think you should only use as a beginner, it's just Keepa and SellerAmp, which is going to run you in the ballpark of $43 a month. Just Keepa is based in euros, I think, so the exchange rate changes monthly, everything like that. So assuming you have $500 to $1,000, you take 40 of that, and that's your Amazon cost to have a professional account. You should definitely have a professional account. It's $40 a month, and it's just taken out of your balance too, so it's not like it's necessarily charged to a credit card or anything like that. As well as Keepa, which is in the ballpark of $20 a month, depending on the euro exchange rate, whatever like that. And that's very self-explanatory. And SellerAmp, which is $23 a month for the full version, which is what you should have. So kind of jumping into what those tools actually looks like. So Keepa is to understand product data, and it's also helpful for finding products. And then SellerAmp is incredibly helpful for finding products, and it helps show the data in terms of the actual numbers of what you'll get back for that item based on what you pay, the profitability, all that. And Keepa shows that product's performance over time in terms of its sale price and all that. So we'll hop over to my screen and take a look at what this actually looks like. So here's a normal generic product page. If you shop on Amazon, which you probably do, you see these all the time. But we can immediately see here I have SellerAmp plugged in, which you should too as a beginner, as well as Keepa down here. So I'm kind of going to give you the basics of each of these software and then kind of run through how to actually use it, right? So I have videos in detail showing more, but just the basics here. So Keepa shows the performance of an item over time, also the supply and demand. So right here, we can see down here at the bottom. So there's three charts. This middle one, I don't really look at, mainly focused on the top one, and then a little bit the third one as well. So just the third one is very self-explanatory. It's new offer count, the amount of other sellers on listings. That's basically the competition, as well as here on the Keep chart, we can see the price history over time. So don't worry about the new price there. I'll unselect that. There's a bunch of different options you can have. I only want to have the buy box and the new third-party FBA. You can only just do the buy box and then the sales rank. Basically, sales rank shows the demand. So, and you guys can see it changes over time, which is why you want to look at the data over a longer point of view, like 3 months, or we can hop out to a year and see how that's done over time. So the buy box is right here, which is who's actually getting the sale if a consumer buys it, right? So the buy box price right now is $8.99. Right now, $7.41 current date, and we can see right up here, $7.41 right there as well. And then we can see literally the performance of it over time, right? The performance of the competition. We can see here a bunch of people bought it in April, and then they sold through, and then actually maybe they were able to find it really good again like that. We can see this dates back 2,500 days, so all the way back in like 2016, 2015. That kind of stuff, pretty cool. We can see all that data over time. I like to focus on just 3 months, and if it's something I'm going to be buying more of, definitely a year-long time frame, as well as we can see the price history, demand, supply. Here, jumping into SellerAmp, we can actually see the profitability of different items, right? So you can see if this sold for $7.41 after fees, and if we paid, let's say $2 for this, we would make 43% ROI, and we would make 86 cents in profit. So this is not a good item, right? It's far too low. I don't looking personally at anything that's under like 20 bucks, even, high teens, just because there needs to be price flexibility, because I'm looking to sell stuff over the long term, right? And then in terms of actually using SellerAmp to find products, so we got the basics of Keepa, how SellerAmp works with the profit calculator. We can go through and take a look at who's actually selling it, everything like that, FBM, FBA. You mainly want to just look at FBA competition, everything like that. But the sourcing method I like most for beginners is actually called reverse sourcing. So basically finding an item that we know is being arbitrage, right? Which Great Value is a brand that's, I'm pretty sure it's owned by Walmart, right? It's a Walmart private label brand. So no one's probably buying it wholesale from Walmart. So we can tell that the other sellers in this listing are probably arbitrage sellers. They're probably resellers like ourselves. So we can see inside their stores and see what other products they're moving, right? We can hop in here. It's literally called Resell Inc., whatever. We can see the different brands, everything like that. We'll pull up one of the big sellers so I can show you what a giant store looks like here.
We can see, interesting, they actually don't have a ton of ASIN. So on SellerAmp, we can see here, we can hop in and see their ASIN count, as well as we can see all the different brands they have and the categories they have. So over time, you become better at sourcing different categories, stuff like that. So it becomes a lot easier because you can immediately come to a store and not have to scroll through thousands of products, which, just a pro tip, the stuff that shows up first is typically the quickest moving. We can see here they're super low sales ranks right here, 3K BSR, 3K BSR, 3K once again. We can see what makes SellerAmp so much better than just doing it manually is you can see the keepas immediately while you're going through someone's store right here. And so on something like this, there's clearly a bunch of junk right up here that Amazon's on. But getting into these, actually, you can pull it up, look at the keepa and everything like that. And how I'm actually searching for these products is just going on Google like this. And all right, well, that's a bad example. That didn't work. For every once in a while, it'll not be like that. And just you can immediately Google. So this isn't like something that takes a ton of time. Like tactical arbitrage is something a lot of beginners like to use, but it takes hours to run a search. You know what I mean? When this, you can just go through stuff manually. And this, you can also get into the nuance of like when you run into using discount codes that different websites have, like 15% off email code signups. Tactical arbitrage isn't going to find that stuff, but you manually searching for it in Google, you are over time, right? Because you'll get good at specific types of listings, then they'll be a lot easier over time. So here, I'm not going to look that up because it's under 13. Here is 18, so I can jump in here. It looks like a multi-pack here, but 18, that's fine. Let's see what we can do here. All right, I like to filter over to Google Shopping. See what's good with this. 27, that's not going to work, right? And so that's really just how I do it. So I find arbitrageable brands, right? Like, Adidas, Great Value, any of the Walmart private label brands, those types of items. Naturally, by looking inside other people's stores, you get exposed to other types of products as well, which then leads you on different rabbit holes and all things like that. So I have a bunch of other videos on my channel. If you want to see more specifics on any of the strategies or tools mentioned in this, definitely check those out. Post 3 videos a week if you're brand new. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys on Monday for another video. Appreciate it.